these are definitely some ways that the dead communicate with me, or my dad communicates with me, or I feel he communicates with me. Hey, I'm back. And again, I don't have my morning brew. It's a little later in the day, but thanks for sitting down and watching the morning brew. Since my dad passed away, I've started documenting different ways I got through grief. And I'm doing this to sort of help me and other people get through this journey that we're all on. And something I didn't expect to get into was sort of this spiritual, afterlife, ghosty sort of thing that I've experienced, and I know other people experience, and people in my family experience. Whether it is afterlife or looking for stuff that isn't there, or just us bringing stuff up in our own minds, I feel like it is something that is real, and for me it does comfort me seeing these things and believing in some of these things. Whether you believe or don't believe, or you want to debunk it, that's okay, but these do seem to be things that happen reasonably regularly and match a lot of other people's stories. So I'm going to go through some things that I've experienced just to see if that matches with other people's stories, and yeah, just ways of potentially finding comfort out there in things that everyday things that might help you communicate with your loved ones. The first thing that sort of started happening was, it was about 2 weeks after my dad had passed, and I was walking around a supermarket, and I can't remember which supermarket, but we were wandering about, and all of a sudden I got the strongest scent of him. Like, I'm not going to say aftershave, but like the musk people have, that sort of smell. Probably from when I was a kid or something, like the sort of warm sort of scent that, like, you know, the nice scent people have, that like a dog's paws, like that nice smell. I had that smell of my dad, and there was no one around, and there was nowhere I could explain that smell, and no one else seemed to smell it that was with me, or I was with someone at the time who couldn't smell it, and I found that super strange, and I thought, that must be some sort of like random thing. But from time to time I smell my father's smell, and on some research, I say research, from other people's stories, they have similar things of smelling the person that has been deceased, and they have no way of sort of explaining that. So yeah, smell is definitely something that I experienced where I feel like the person is visiting me, and it does bring me comfort because it's a nice smell. It's not a smell that, you know, when you watch ghost hunting sort of things, they were like, ooh, it's a Fausty, horrible smell. I get a pleasant smell of my dad, and yeah, it is very comforting. On the sort of smell note and the sense note leads me on to the second point, and it comes from my sort of listening to my mum, and a big thing that she experiences, and she experienced it really quickly to start with, and it's obvious why this would happen, but as time passes, it keeps happening. But she feels like she's getting held in the night, and sometimes her hair, or she's like cuddling someone in bed, and she gets a massive feeling of touch, and it comforts her massively. I'm not sure other people feel it, and I'm sure they do, but it gives me sort of a phantom limb vibe. But either way, it's a comforting thing, and she likes that feeling, and it's not unusual to feel that from things I've sort of read. And yeah, so touch is something people experience, and I'm not sure it's something that I'd like, but it definitely is definitely a thing, and it has been related to the idea of someone trying to communicate with you through touch. So yeah, touch is something that a lot of people feel. I mentioned this in some of my other videos, but dreaming is also something that can make you feel as if that person is communicating with you. And I don't particularly dream very heavily, but I have as of late, where I feel like it came from someone else being a little bit unwell or not in a very good state, and it upset me. And when I dreamt my father sitting with them having a nice chat, and it was really nice to experience, and it almost felt as if my dad had sort of comforted that person or comforted me in saying, hey, they're okay, it doesn't matter if they pass, or it doesn't matter if they're with you right now, they are okay. And it's a really nice thing, and it did feel as if my dad was still doing his job as a father and sort of looking out for me. And I found that very nice and comforting, that even though someone has passed away, they're still trying to sort of do their job. And because it came from a perspective of comfort or something he needed to do, it felt like he'd almost put himself there rather than it was my own mind, if that makes sense. So yeah, dreams are a massive way people communicate, and I know people want to look for people in dreams, but it is a huge thing. And yeah, dreams, it is known again for people to visit you in dreams. Have you been looking through random drawers, or you've randomly gone to pick a shoe up and there's coins in it, or there's something in it? So it turns out that coins is a way that, or it's spoke about in the spirit world or through different cultures. I keep saying the spirit world because I have no other better word, but in different cultures, coins appear in places for significant dates, and that does seem to be a thing. On birthdays, the coins randomly turn up on random places. So I don't know, like I say, like in a shoe, or randomly in the bedside table, which you convince you haven't put there. Whether you have and it just happens, that's another thing. But coins is a way that people feel they're getting connected to through a different realm. So yeah, that is definitely one. And another that I feel is very closely related is feathers. Feathers has been spoken about before in some of the other YouTube videos I've done. But when I see feathers, I feel as if my dad is putting those feathers there to remind me of him, whether it is or it's just a bird is plucking in feathers, which probably is the case. But either way, it makes me feel of my dad, and I think those things are really important too. So yeah, it does seem to be a very common thing that people feel as if their loved ones are communicating with them through feathers. So yeah, feathers, I think, are a great one, and I do experience them. A little stranger though, however, is, again, similar to the last point with the feathers and the coins, is that me and my mum were looking for, what were we looking for? We were looking for some bills for the internet or whatever it was, and we couldn't find them for the life of us, and it was really annoying, couldn't find them anywhere. And my mum shouted, "Mark, where are you?" And not where are you, where have you put them? And within like 30 seconds, we looked like under a DVD player, and there they were. And that sort of thing is so strange, and it does feel like the person's helping you out. And I think it's happened before. It's like looking in my dad's shed for tools, and I'm like, where is it? And within seconds, I find it. And we have a running joke between me and my mum that if we really need something that badly, we just ask and it will appear. And it is so strange. Like it's super strange. And I do feel like sometimes then I'm being communicated and communicated to, and it's such a good feeling that you know that someone sort of got your back. It's lush. Going back onto another is my dad always used to shout to me, "Georgie boy," as I walked in the house, and just generally seeing him around the place. And I do get him communicating with me through sort of voice, normally I can hear it, so I presume it's not, the whole world doesn't hear Georgie boy getting screamed around the place. But it does feel as if that, he is communicating me through voice, and I know other people feel that happens when they've lost a deceased person. You can't lose them twice. When you've lost someone. And yeah, so I get him maybe talking some advice to me when I'm about to do stuff, especially under pressure. Whether that's you calling up on memory that makes you feel comfortable, I don't know. Probably is, but it does make me feel great. So hearing their voice has been known to be a way the spirit world or the next life communicates, and it is very, very comforting. Going back to the feathers and that sort of thing, a story of a crow, a raven, just a bird of that sort, used to turn up when my dad passed. Used to turn up at my mum's window every day for about a month. It would turn up, sit on the windowsill outside her room, and just sort of watch. And there was a little bit of a creepy element to it, but my mum took a lot of comfort out of this, and I saw it, and I was there. It happens. This bird would come down every morning and sit. It was comforting in the end, and very sort of different, strange but different. And whenever my mum was out walking or whatever, she felt like this crow followed. And so there was an element of, wow, it like my father's taking form, or there's a spirit in this bird that is looking after my mum. And it was a really nice thing to take comfort from. And yeah, look out for crows, because that is known again to be a loved one helping you out or looking over you. Or ravens, I'm not sure which one, but I do know that it's a thing. And on the note of wings, butterflies are also a way of or it's known in some cultures, that a butterfly is sort of, or from like a religious point of view, is a sort of a messenger from God, like relaying messages from people who are in heaven to people on earth. And so if you feel like you get butterflies, that's quite common. Coming back and forth to the sort of you and heaven, that is super common. But I do know that that goes back to sort of ancient times, when in Greece they felt that when someone passed, butterflies would come down, and that would show the person sort of spirit leaving their body. So butterflies do have meaning in a lot of different cultures, but butterflies is something that I take a lot of meaning from. And if I take communication with my dad from that, then, well, yeah, it just makes me feel comfortable. And yeah, I think I've spoke about this. I get a lot of feelings my dad's communicating with me through other people, through different memories that they've got. And sometimes I just see it in other people, whether that's my dad communicating with me or my head putting that together. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things where a deceased person can communicate with you, or you can get sort of a lot of comfort from. There's a few others that I haven't experienced myself. Like, a lot of people get like electricals may start blinking, or another one is orbs, and sort of start seeing stuff around the house. I haven't seen anything like that. I know a lot of it can come from, or I say a lot of stuff can come from like modern day like film and books and cult classics, but some of this stuff's been going on for a long time and it's been written about for a long time, so it's sort of up to you to believe what you want to believe. But these are definitely some ways that the dead communicate with me, or my dad communicates with me, or I feel he communicates with me. So I'm not sure how you feel when you if you feel as if you get anything like this, but it'd be great to hear it, because I know that when you share these sort of moments with people, it doesn't make you feel so mad, and it's great. It's a really nice feeling to share. So yeah, thank you for watching The Morning Brew again, and I've got some other videos here talking about some of my experiences. And if you are into this sort of thing, please jump along and subscribe. I appreciate it so much, because I am sharing my grief journey, with the hope to help other people and help myself. And thank you so much for listening and being part of my journey and my healing for losing my father, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.